Firstly, thank you to Nissa and Trudy for joining me today for this Zoom call. For anyone else watching on the replay, hopefully you're going to find this useful, particularly since the topic I really want to talk about today is around hypnotherapy audio mixes. And for the simple reason being that I have a video on YouTube. It's probably getting close to 10 years old. And it's probably one of my most watched videos on YouTube as well. I still get emails about it to this day. However, if I was asked about putting together a hypnotherapy mixer nowadays, I would probably approach that video in a different way. And so I feel it's important to make sure that I continue to explore the various ways in which you might be able to do this depending upon what your needs are, as well as making sure that I try to keep it as up to date as possible, because there's a lot of new technology that is coming out. The first obvious question is why someone would need a hypnotherapy audio mixer in their room, because theoretically you could just play music in the background and talk and would achieve a similar kind of outcome. In some instances, it might be because you share space with other people. I think, Nissa, I know you definitely know my business partner, Joey. I don't know, Trudy, if you do, but you know, he's Maltese background. He can be very loud when he wants to be. And love him dearly. I don't know if he ever watches this back. He won't be offended at me saying that he is very loud. He's soundproof these rooms an inch of his life, and I can still hear him. And so sometimes it might be that you want to be able to have some sort of mixer set up to help block out those sounds or construction sounds, or in other cases, you might also be a fan of things like binaural beats or those sorts of auditory approaches that can only be done through headphones. You can't do binaural beats without headphones. So the whole point of them is to generate a third illusionary beat from the difference between the two beats in each ear. So that's where, again, something like a hypnotherapy mixer might be useful. I will always say, though, that if you are looking at creating a hypnotherapy mixer, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what do you want it to be able to do? And what I mean by that is, obviously, you want to be able to, at the bare minimum, have you talk into something so that the other person can hear it through their headphones and potentially play some sort of background music into that, or binaural beat or something along those lines. So I'm curious. I will just ask Nissa and Trudy quickly. In terms of hypnotherapy mixer, is there any particular thing that brought you to this discussion today that you wanted to know?
Yeah. The clinic that I work in, I share, and there's a line of businesses next to each other, and they're all health orientated.
Yep.
And I have one next. Their doorway is next to my room, and I have people just bang the doors when they're leaving, and it's like I use that as a deepener. But I'm just thinking, if I was lying there, I'd probably hear that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be able to obscure the noise, but also be able to just, I think when you have headphones in, it makes you more internal, and to be able to use that and use music and to use other things like, as you said, binaural beats, and to layer and use that in a way that's more, how can I say, compact within their worlds, you know, and so they're in themselves. And I think it would definitely be I know when I listen to things, it takes me more inward and it's a deeper experience. I'm not saying that you can't do it without it, but I just would like it. And also, for them, as I said, the noise, so people don't hear doors banging or kids crying as they're taking them to the other clinics and things like that.
You're absolutely right. I know that for some people, the doors banging, the kids crying, any of that sort of thing may not bother them, but for other people, it can really bring them out of the experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it is always subjective, and generally they won't say anything until after the experience, halfway through it or something like that. And at that point, it can often feel a little deflating, and you realize you have to kind of step back and do something else really quickly. So I can understand why, if it's a common occurrence, you can offer that as an option and say, you know, I don't know if the sound of people outside or anything like that's going to make it easier for you or harder. But this is
mm,
an option. Um,
mm,
there was something else I was going to reply to there that you were talking. Oh, yes, that's right. I remind people also when they come to see me that with hypnosis, you don't have to close your eyes.
mm,
You can do hypnosis with eyes open.
mm,
It's just it's so much easier with your eyes closed to not have the distractions that exist around you. It helps you to go inwards and into that experience internally. And so you're absolutely right about having headphones on. Maybe it plays to the ritual that they're expecting as well.
mm,
Therefore, for them, hypnosis might be about this special thing with sound and multi-layered, and so it helps to play to that belief of what they think hypnosis is.
mm.
But I see it as really being able to help detach from the awake state
Yeah.
and help to block out anything that might be a distraction, bring them inwards. Yeah.
And I also use music anyway. I always have music playing, and depending what I'm working, I'll pick certain types of music, and depending where we're going with it. And I always like finding out what people's favourite uplifting song is. And at the end of the session, I'll always play that to reinforce the positivity. So I really like using music and sounds and just things to really kind of install the experience for them.
It's a smart move. You'll be anchoring the experience to that song even
Yes.
further. Um,
Yeah.
it must make you feel a bit like Mr. FM sometimes. Like a radio DJ.
I've got to find that song.
I will say that is the one challenge with if you are using hypnotherapy mixes, you're probably used to it now. But the first little bit will be you getting used to separating your mind between being a hypnotist and being aware of the technical work that you have to do in that moment. So a few practice sessions, and that tends to be a better option there. How about you?
Mm,
What's prompted you to come today?
Well, sort of similar. I haven't used them other than background music, but I'd like to have some noise cancelling headphones for the person. And that's because the rooms I'm working out of is a sort of a drop-in center. So people can just like bowl up to the door, walk down the corridor heavy,
Right.
you know.
mhm,
There's
yeah.
a lot of, come in, haha, or people are using a printer. So, and also I'm in Queanbeyan, which is near Canberra, and there's a lot of hoons. Na 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 na. It's like, and
You
just
have to drink
incorporate
the
any
piss
sound that
outside,
you
right?
hear.
Similar sorts of things. Then it's about trying to manipulate the environment you're in, that it's so that you're limiting the external distractions that will bring them out
Mhm,
of experience and helping to have them firmly in their own experience internally. Um, that would be potentially the only reasons why I would generally tend to recommend actually using a hypnotherapy mixer in session. Um, because otherwise, I feel like it's a whole lot of other stuff that you also need to be mindful of while being mindful of the session that you're doing. It's almost like this splitting between two things.
mm,
Now, the majority of time in my own room, I won't actually do a hypnotherapy mixer. I won't do any auditory thing. I'll just do it pretty much as Nissa said before, where I try to be a little bit Ericksonian and utilize whatever happens around me.
mm,
It's be a challenge. Joe has Tibetan bowls that he'll
Mm.
sometimes play mid-session, and that will
mm,
be often a lot of very quick um, trying to reframe what's happening and
mm.
make that mean something as well. So do either of you have anything set up at the moment, or are you starting from scratch today?
Scratch.
From scratch, okay. So
Same. I don't have any. I didn't. I was hoping you could recommend even what type of headset to buy and that sort of thing.
Mm, yeah. Total newbies to it.
cool, that's okay,
Yeah,
because I
I'm
would
used to
say that
just doing the talking, but I used to do it at my place, or I used to work out of a crystal shop in Sydney, which was very calm and serene, and lots of nice energy. But it's a little bit different where I am now. So,
Mm,
the starting point is always going to be around what kind of budget you have,
mm,
because it is possible to put together something fairly inexpensively. And inexpensive doesn't have to mean that it's necessarily bad. But of course, the old saying, you get what you pay for, does come to mind. And
mm,
while while there will be mixers that are relatively inexpensive, there's some trade-offs that come with that. I know when I put together my original video, it was really about how do you put together something that was fairly cheap. And mostly because at that time, there weren't too many other options out there. There was something called a Hypnocom that came from the UK, and they were charging something like 300 or 400 pounds for that one device. And if you looked at the features that it had, even at that time, it was getting a bit dated. And there are other options out there, certainly nowadays, particularly in this world of podcasting. Really, a podcasting mixing desk is something that is going to be ideal for this sort of scenario. But even they can be quite costly, of around 800 to 1,000 Australian dollars, just the mixing desk itself, not to mention the microphone or headsets or anything along those lines. So what I present is a really good entry-level, inexpensive, something that will work. It's not going to have all of these whistles. It's not going to necessarily have the utmost pretense, but that is going to be able to achieve the function you set out to do. I'm essentially still utilizing a lot of parts and equipment that I put together in the video about 10 years ago, because those parts are still available and they're still relatively inexpensive and they still can work. The first question I would ask, though, and this is to both of you, do you require the mixer to be able to not only have a microphone for yourself, but also for your client?
Not necessarily.
No?
Yeah, I was only thinking for myself, but maybe.
Because some people want it so that both people are mic'd up, so that if there was any form of hypnoanalysis that would go on or anything on those lines, that they can do. Because nowadays I probably would use Ideomotor more than.
Yes, I was thinking.
It's you don't even need to set it up half the time. I think half the time you can even just start watching for unconscious movement that happens in response to questions. I had that earlier today with a client who we'd done some Ideomotor work initially, but then when we went to hypnosis, the hands were still doing this, and it's like, oh, they're still talking to me. So I intentionally did vague questions that were addressing both the part and the person, and watching the finger movements. Like, yeah, we're getting progress here. It's good. So, okay. Well, then let's start with what I would recommend as being the most easiest, straightforward way. Now, I'm going to have to feel a bit like the Wizard of Oz here, in the sense that I'm going to have to remove my background filter in order to show these products, which means you're going to see the mess behind me. So I apologize now. It's like, so if I tick that off, that's better. Oh, no.
Don't expose.
Oh, no. the range of equipment behind me that I've had to pull apart. So when I made the video around 8 to 10 years ago, the piece of equipment that I recommend at the heart of it is this one here. It's a Behringer brand. I don't know if that's the right way around or not, if it's reversed.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's a Xenix 302 USB. And this is a very portable device. I mean, this is the size of it here.
Oh, wow.
So it's incredibly small, very portable. In terms of why I think this particular device, there's a few reasons. Firstly, it's powered up via USB in the back, which means that you can either plug in a USB cable and plug it into your mains, and it could be a standalone mixer, or you can power it up via a computer and then play music from the computer into the mixer. Potentially record back to the computer at the same time. So it has that flexibility from the USB functionality of it.
Did you say that will record back to the computer, as in you've recorded your session?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's an audio mixer. It's USB. it should be full duplex. So you should be able to plug this in and then be able to both play as well as record at the same time.
That's excellent.
Yeah. It has got a couple of different microphone inputs, but the one that I find the most useful is if I bring it up here, you can see that it can actually plug in a headset. So it's got both the microphone and headphone inputs there. It does have an XLR microphone input there if you want. However, I tend to find that most people will generally want to have a headphone that's got both the microphone thing there. The other thing you need to look at is that you're looking for one that has both, has two cables at the end. So one that is going to be a bit like this one here, one that's going to be a microphone and one that's going to be a headphone, 1/4-inch jack. And they will be able to fit into there quite nicely. And from there, you can simply use the mixer. For instance, if I had a microphone plugged in, I can use that microphone knob right there to control the volume. It also has a little bit of an equalizer there, so I can turn up the bass of my voice or turn up the treble. And I can also use the gain knob right there. So what gain does is if the microphone signal is too quiet, you can use the gain button or gain knob to increase the signal. There's a trade-off there. The trade-off being that if I increase it, you'll hear some background noise. So that's the general thing that happens there. If I've got the USB connected, then I can press this red button in, and then I can play music from the computer and I can control the volume of it through here on that winding knob. And it's got a little equalizer there as well. Now, in the past, I would recommend that you would use these splitter cables to plug into the microphone and headphone sockets in order to be able to do 2 sets. The challenge there is that most headsets get their power from this device. And so when you put a splitter in, I guarantee it's going to get the power. Some will work, some will not. And so that's been the biggest problem. What I would recommend, though, is that you can buy fairly inexpensively a little headphone mixer. So what you could do is connect the output of the headphones there into the back here. So a little cable that goes into the back there. And then you can have 4 different headphones that you can do. So if you had more than one client, say you had a couple, and you wanted to do hypnosis session there, you can then have your own individual volumes for each of the headphones there. And I think that because this is separately powered.
What's that model?
This is.
Please.
I don't actually think it has a model, but what I will do is that I will go looking online to find where these are nowadays. I could try to tell you the model, but I don't speak. I assuming that could be either.
Yes.
I would say by the looks of it. The extent of my Chinese is ni hao ma, which I believe is either hello or a horse, one of the two. But I will find that and make sure I send that to you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And then I think when you've done it that way, it means that you can rest assured that there's going to be enough power needed in order to be able to get through all those things. So what I'm going to do is just quickly connect this up, and I'm hoping it doesn't cut my voice out. If it does, I'll unplug it again. So I'll just be a second. Let's see. Okay. So can you still hear me at the moment? Great. I'm just going to change the output so I can hear you guys again. And what I'm going to do is plug in these cheapy headphones just for a moment. These cost, I think, $7 from Officeworks, but they can do the trick. So I'm just going to turn all the settings down to 0 and plug this in. Pop these on. And within Zoom, I'm just going to change the input
hear me okay now.
Yeah.
It would help if I made sure that I plugged the microphone into the microphone socket and not the headphone into the microphone socket.
That's something I do.
Well, it's all about trying to find out any of those things. And you can hear me okay at the moment. You probably even hear me louder than what I was. Okay, so this is all coming through this little mixer at the moment. So all I've done is adjusted the volume so that it's working there. I haven't got any gain up. If I turn on the gain, you'll hear what I mean about background noise. Can you hear that background noise? No. Okay, so there you go.
Oh,
not be as
really?
noticeable. And what we'll also do for a bit of fun, I'm hoping this works. I've not tried this yet. Is I'm going to share my screen. So you guys should be able to see the Audacity screen that's up at the moment. Okay. And if I go into my audio set and choose record device, I'm going to choose oh, you know what I've got to do? Sorry, I'm going to do this again. I just realized this is actually a good reminder that if you don't have a USB plugged in prior to opening Audacity, it's not going to find it. So I need to shut down Audacity and restart it again. Now that I've just plugged in the USB. And now, if I go back up to audio setting and recording device, you can see that the USB is there now. So I can click on that. And I can also choose playback device to be through the USB as well. And so now if I play this track, I should be able to control it through here. Is that coming through? And can you hear my voice clearly over it? So all of that is coming through this little mixer right now. And if I wanted to, I can stop and add a new track. Click into that track. And if I hit record, theoretically, I should be able to talk over that. And it's now recording directly to the computer at the moment. But I can also add binaural beats as another track or channel. I can turn the volume up and down right here.
Lawrence, can you reduce the volume of the audio so we can hear your voice better?
Okay, so that's probably going to be more to do with the actual internet connection than the mixer itself. One thing I always say to people is I would avoid doing music and voice over internet because we're always reliant on not just the quality of the internet connection on my side, but the internet connection on the other side as well. And
Okay,
it's often a challenge there. But just in terms of getting an example of how easy it is to be able to integrate something like Audacity on a computer with a mixer so that live in the moment, you can actually begin to just put together things and have a session live in the moment with your client. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, great. I'm just going to turn that off. I'm going to switch back to the other microphone and everything because I don't like looking at myself with a headset on. I look silly.
You don't.
Rightio. You can hear me again now. I'm green, so that's indicating that. The other things I would say are going to be a challenge or to look out for is obviously you're going to want to have enough length of cable so that the person who is having the session can sit in their seat without feeling the strain of the headphones, and you can sit where you are without feeling the strain of the headphones. The last thing you want to do is forget that you're wearing headphones and get up and move and find that you're snapping your head back because you've got headphones on. I think we've all had experiences of that. So there are extension cables that you can get that can help to extend that out as well. So that's something I would factor into that. even if you were to use that mixer there, this mixer here, this here, those two items are probably going to cost you around 200 to 250 Australian dollars. So not terribly much. Then if you're looking at headphones, obviously we're talking before about noise cancelling ones. The headphones that I love, that I use the most, are not ones that I generally use with this here, but they are. What are they? Here we go. These are the Audio Technica BPHS1 headphones. These are broadcast quality. In terms of plugs, though, and it's always going to come down to what plugs you got, although you can buy adapters. This uses an XLR for the microphone, and it's got a full-inch jack instead of a 1/4 inch. So I'd need an adapter for that to plug into here. But this XLR would fit into that port there. And again, it comes down to if you want to have both the clients talking, or you and the client talking, or not. I think nowadays most people are moving away from that. And probably what you could do if you do want the client to talk is simply just slip one of your headphones off so you have a free ear and just listen. Is possibly what I'd recommend there as well. There are, of course, other options when it comes to mixers. A few years back, there was a lovely Christian who had his Hypno mixer. At the heart of that was this Sound Blaster K3. And I will say that this is probably the quietest mixer that I have. If I plug this in, it's absolutely silent. All of them have a learning curve. And I think the challenge here is that this one has perhaps a few features that might confuse people if you just want something really simple and really basic. You heard me talking about Joey before. Joey has this little mixer in his room. Now, this is probably aimed more at the karaoke market, to be honest. But he found this. I got this for $80 delivered. It's very colorful if you turn it on. It's going to turn on for me. Yep, there we go. It's more like a discotheque than anything. The reason why is because all of these are different effects. And these are different sound effects. But at the back of it, it's got a space for a couple of different microphones, a couple of different headphones, and the ability to play music straight in. What I have found about this, though, is that if I try to connect it to a computer, it's not very good. So if you want something that's just, you're playing, music through a little, old iPod or something like that, and you've got a couple of headphones, this should be fine. But if you're wanting to integrate a computer into it, I can't recommend this one.
Okay.
And this has been a process of elimination because there's so many cheap things out there that some I try and they're great and some are not so great. There was also for a while there someone else who was producing a hypnotherapy based mixer using this particular model. If you thought $80 was pretty inexpensive for a mixer, these were about $50. I will say the person selling it was selling it for about $500, but they were $50. The challenge with these, again, is that I just found that the quality of it, you get what you pay for. There was a lot of noise, and I found that it was really quite, I found that some of the levels of the microphones were just not great. It felt a very cheap product. I'll put it that way. So these are purchases that I've made so that you don't have to. I think the old saying is, at the end of the day, when I weigh it all up in terms of value, ease of use, compromise on quality, but still good, the Behringer still comes out probably the best.
Mm.
Not perfect, but in terms of ease of use, it's really easy to use. In terms of the quality of sound coming with a computer or without a computer, it's fine. It's got a little bit of background noise, but ultimately it's pretty good. You can plug things in and go straight away. The only challenge is that if you're after something that has two speakers or two people speaking, it's not fantastic. But if it's just you talking and someone else listening, this is probably good. And this will set you back, I think. Let's have a look online what the current prices are. Should have actually looked that up before I started this, shouldn't I? That would have been good. USB. It's $109.
Wow.
Between $99 and $109. So it's not your $80 or your $50. But for, $50 more, you get something that I think is going to provide you with a really reliable, easy to use, can be something practical, can record back to your computer, and what the other ones would do. So hopefully this is giving you a bit more insight and idea about how you might be able to handle that or move forward. As I mentioned, after this video, I will put together a shopping list. I will provide the original PDF I put together, but I will add the note of I probably wouldn't recommend using the splitters anymore. I think you run too many risks of getting headphones that require more power output than what the mixer can provide. You're better off getting a little headphone mixer, plug it into that for multiple headphones, and then you're set, you're fine.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
That's okay. I open it up to questions.
So how much are the headphones?
Sorry,
both at once. Sorry, you go.
No, you're Trudy.
I was just asking. You mentioned a podcasting mixing desk.
Mm-hmm. So podcasting. So this here would also be probably an example of a podcast mixing desk. But again, I'm just going to jump online and see if I can find the one I had in mind. Right, so something like okay. So if I share my screen, this is a good example of one here. This is the oops, sorry, zooming around everywhere there. The Rhodes Rodecaster Pro integrated audio production studio, which you can see Kogan have for a mere $872. But that is obviously designed as a podcast studio to be able to have two or more speakers. What I also tend to find with the podcast mixers is that they'll frequently have some built-in effects as well, whether it be reverb or noise reduction or something along those lines that could be useful. In some cases, like this one here has reverb. It's terrible. Awful. I would, and this is the thing I'd also say is that I remember when the particular person who was selling this as a hypnotherapy mixer, the content that they had with it in terms of advertising was incredibly misleading. So one of the things that I was saying is, well, you can just record straight to a computer with this and have all the reverb and effects and everything added in. That is technically true, but I would never recommend recording a hypnosis audio direct to a computer with effects added and background music, because if you make a mistake, it is going to be a nightmare to edit. You won't be able to edit it. Not without there being a cut in the music or some strange thing happening to your voice. It's just not workable. You're better off, if you're going to do hypnosis audios, to layer it all in Audacity, record your voice into that, dry, then add the effects from there, edit it as well. It just makes more sense than trying to record it live as a finished product, because you might be great and you might not make a mistake. But if you're anything like me, I trip up over my words all the time. even when I'm not being recorded, like I'm in my poor clients, so I trip up all the time. And so, I want to be able to edit my recordings. So things like that, I'd just be wary of. However, a mixer like this, getting back to what the question actually was, is a good example of something that would have multiple inputs. You can see in the back there, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 XLR microphone inputs right there. I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 headphones as well. So looking at the back, 4 microphones, 4 headphones, easy if you're looking for multiple people. That could be overkill though. So, and that's the thing. Also, if you look at this particular mixer again, you would think, because there's a XLR there and the headphone jacks here, that this is 2 inputs. And it technically is, but you can only do 1 input at a time. I can either use that one or that one. I can't use both. So you just need to check that about the mixer. So that is the only thing. There are some people out there watching this who probably do want to have both them mic'd up and their client mic'd up. The answer is probably going to be a podcast mixer for you, I'm afraid, and you're probably going to have to spend that money to do that. The K3 Plus Sound Blaster, this does have 2 microphone inputs. So Christian was right picking this. 2 challenges. It's not the most user-friendly piece of equipment to use, and they don't make them anymore. So you have to find it secondhand. Not impossible, but you can't go and buy one brand new. You have to go looking secondhand. So hopefully,
and then user-friendly.
It's not the worst piece of equipment I've used, but I think the challenge is that it has a lot of built-in effects. And like a lot of these units, it has this kind of dial thing where it's like, well, you have 10 different effects and you turn a dial depending on the effect you want, and you press a button to have it activated. And I think if you're trying to focus on your client, the last thing to focus on is why you've suddenly got like a whole reverb on your voice.
You stuffed it up.
If you think slamming doors is going to bring him out of trance, try a whole reverb when you're not expecting it. So for me, it's about, is there ease of use so that you can just intuitively use it without having to think about it? I have to be thinking about, do I need reverb on my voice when there's a client in front of you? Your focus should obviously and wisely be on your client and build. Yeah. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yes, certainly does. Thank you.
Did you have a question as well?
So then, sorry, which other mixer would you recommend that's simple and basic?
Look, to be honest, there are a few mixers out there that there's a lot of mixers out there that are going to be simple and basic.
Okay.
But I think the challenge is going to be about the sound
quality. Yeah.
Because it's not much use if they're simple and basic, but if you plug in the microphone, you find that your level's always really low, or it's distorting, or you can't connect your computer and play things back, or any of those sorts of things. Behringer as a brand is known for being cheap and cheerful, but practical. They're not the top by a long shot. In fact, they're known for plagiarism, to be honest. And any kind of music keyboards out there, they're known for basically ripping it off. But they are known for being affordable and good enough that professional musicians would use them. So Behringer will have other mixers that potentially could be useful. But I think in terms of if you're looking for something that's just going to be a good starter model, that's going to be able to play background music and put your headphones on and everything, work with Audacity well.
Yeah.
The 302 USB is not bad.
Awesome.
But what I can do is if I see any others as I put up the content for this that I feel are worth looking at, I'll share them in the links as well.
Yeah, the headphone mixer. So you have the one that you just showed, and then we need the headphone mixer as well. Yeah.
Yeah, look, the headphone mixer, well, yes, I would say so.
What was that? What brand was that one?
What's that? Sorry.
What was the brand of the headphone mixer?
This was the one that was the Chinese model. So I
that's right. Oh, that's right. You're going to let us know what it is.
What the it's
sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's got written on it micro mix amp for i4 2. But I've had this for a few years now. I will look up and see if I can find it or something similar.
Oh, that'd be great.
That I share these with you, just so that if you want to do that, you can build that as an option.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And that concludes my presentation for today on microphone mixers. Is there any other questions you guys have? I mean, I'm always here to answer any questions about the recording course as well, or anything like that.
Which I still haven't done.
I want to get back into it. I did it ages ago, and then the COVID reset, move, carry on.
I'm actually planning to go back and do a few things like rewrite the manual, because I don't think the manual is even available at the moment. So I'm going to go back and rewrite the manual, and I will start re-recording some of the content. The challenge I have is simply that Audacity was bought by another company about 2 years ago. And while they're keeping it free, they are doing fairly regular updates, which means that cosmetically, there's a lot of enhancements and changes going on. And every time that happens, it's great, but it's a double-edged sword. It also means that potentially have to go and re-record videos. So I'm trying to think of a way that I can do the content that can be evergreen, so that I don't have to re-record 13 hours every time there's a change, versus what needs to change and what can stay the same. Yeah, because a lot of it's the same. It's just the functions moved. Yeah. Look, I'll let you go. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Yay, thank you.
It's been
Thank you.
really lovely seeing you. I'm thrilled. I'm chuffed. I'll let you go, but have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope it stays a lot drier than what it is in Melbourne. And I look forward to speaking to you guys again soon.
Thank you so much for your time, Lawrence. Really appreciate it.
Trudy.
See you. Nice to see you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.